So today I'm just going to put out a quick video about how I've been learning to write kanji recently because I found a great resource that I'd like to share. Then I'll briefly talk about how I think beginners can learn kanji. I've actually been able to read Japanese fluently for quite a few years, but I never actually properly learnt to handwrite them, which is why my writing never got past the level of a dyslexic 5-year-old. But now that I'm living and working in Japan, there are times when I actually need to write, and I just happened to come across this fantastic resource called Joyo Kanji no Kakitori, which is a flashcard deck you can find in the community shared decks part of the Anki website. The great thing about this deck is that it uses no English. It shows a few example words with a blank space in place of the kanji you have to recall and write, and it even has the stroke order on the back. I actually had a similar idea a few years back and started making cards, but the time it took to make the cards was such a pain that I eventually gave up. This deck makes things a lot simpler. It still takes time to learn all 2000 or so, but I've just been taking a relaxed, lazy approach by only adding a few new cards a day and have been seeing decent results. Of course, this only works if you already actually know and understand Japanese. If you're a complete beginner, I actually don't think it's worth learning to handwrite the kanji unless you really want to, because that time spent learning to write could be better put towards understanding the language and building comprehension. But how does one learn to recognize kanji without learning to write them? What I did when I was a complete beginner, and I still think this is a good way for beginners who want to learn kanji, is to use remembering the kanji, or RTK for short. Many people watching this video are probably already familiar with this method, but in essence, it's a way to memorize kanji using mnemonics. It involves associating each kanji with an English keyword. I think the way most people do it is to see the English keyword, then recall the kanji from that. But if you want to learn them the quicker way without learning to write, I'd recommend doing the opposite. Try to recall the English keyword after seeing the kanji. For example, let's assume I'm learning the kanji for cry. Since most kanji are built with the same selection of individual smaller parts, known as radicals, if I have meaning associated with the radicals, I can use them to make a story to recall the meaning of the kanji. If I've remembered the 3 dots on the left as water, and the part on the right as stand, I can create some random story about someone crying because they stood in water or something. I don't know, be creative. In this way, you can learn to distinguish and recognize each new kanji by looking at its part and using mnemonics to associate a different keyword with each kanji. This is a good way to learn to recognize the kanji relatively quickly, which would give you a solid foundation and make it easier to learn written vocabulary. I'd also recommend using flashcards for this approach too. Okay, that's it for today. Tell me what you think in the comments, and thanks for watching.